Welcome to Chart Prime. This is the Piper's Den coming at you live, looking at 100x cap gems with some of the greatest small cap hunters in the market out there. These guys are awesome. I love having them here. And today we are bringing on Crypto Seth from the Crypto Gem Hunters and from his own show, Crypto Seth. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Let's talk about some of this stuff, shall we? Seth?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very, very good today.
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Good to have you here, man. Go ahead and tell the viewers that may not know you, who you are and what you do, and what we're going to be talking about today, man. Give them a rundown.
So I'm Crypto Seth. I have my own YouTube channel where I go deep dive into certain low cap gems. We do our research. You know, we kind of predict where we believe these projects are going to go with a lot of different criteria, which I will be talking about a little later. You know, I haven't been doing YouTube for that long, about 3+ months, and I've made many great calls and my audience are very happy.
Awesome. Awesome. So like, what are some projects that you look for, or what do you look for in projects? Do you have anything? Because we've had Crypto Archie on here before, and he's talked about like what he looks for. Do you have a little bit of different approach going into that stuff, or like how do you do it?
So yeah, okay. So we need to break it down because it's a little bit different to investing. Investing in crypto isn't the same for every single project. You can basically kind of trust these high caps in a sense and throw your money into them, but that's not the same for low cap gems. There is a general criteria which I aim to meet. However, it does deviate from that depending on the category of project we're talking about. So the general rundown of what we look for is firstly, great tokenomics. At the end of the day, regardless of the project, regardless if you believe it has potential, if the tokenomics aren't the best, that's not going to incentivize investment into the project. We also look for holders. We look for active development in terms of GitHub activity and a few other different things. And we deviate from that depending on the type of project. So for example, I'll give you guys an example. For example, gaming projects, we kind of deviate from that typical criteria and look towards more, are the games playable to the target audience? Is this playable by the people within the same industry? Does it meet the needs of the people in the target audience? So we do deviate in a few different sectors. I will be talking about a few different gems later. And when I do, I'll talk about the criteria we look for in that industry and how best to kind of operate your investment.
Awesome. Sounds great. So what I find interesting about this whole space is I've never really got into the small caps until I met you guys. You guys sort of pulled me into all that. I found it very interesting, started looking at my portfolio and went, yep, I'm definitely missing a little something here in my portfolio. So my approach to it is I look at, you know, like average 5 to 8% of my total portfolio being focused on some of these because like I was saying the other day on to Archie, I was telling him that one of the big things that I look for is for example, like a 100x token. Well, you know, if I have 5% of that in my portfolio into something like that, and it does that, I mean, that could potentially be 25, 30% of my total portfolio returns for the bull run. So yeah, very interesting projects that you guys talk about, and I just love the content you guys create. So by the way, everybody that's viewing right now, if you guys check down in the description below, you'll see all of the links for Crypto Seth, for his show and his Twitter and all that. I recommend you guys to follow him because these guys are just dropping some gems every day. So you got some stuff you want to show us, you want to talk about? What do you got for us today, Seth?
So there's a few different gems I want to talk about in a few different industries. One that I specifically want to focus on is Graphlink protocol.
All right, you got it up on your screen. I can go ahead and drop you in here.
I can double hear the live stream for some reason. Oh, there we go. It's gone. So, okay, I'll get it up on my screen. I don't know if you can see my screen right now. Please let me know if everything.
Let's get you over there. There we go. You're in. You're
okay,
live.
So Graphlink protocol is a great project, in my opinion. Quite undervalued. A lot of people don't talk about this gem, and I'm not too sure why they don't. I'm having a few technical issues here. There we go. Okay, sorry. Everything's working now. So, Graphlink protocol. This is a great gem, in my opinion. A lot of people don't talk about it, but the reason why I believe this gem is great is because of this idea of a unique selling point. This is one of the major things I look for in crypto, guys. There's a lot of different projects out there. For example, in the gaming industry, there is a plethora of different gaming projects. You guys already know this. Hundreds of different ones. And what you need to look for is a USP. It's the same in business, and we do the same in crypto. What is the unique selling point of a project which differentiates it from other projects to incentivize investment? And this is what I look for in Graphlink Protocol, because there isn't actually any project in the whole crypto space which aims to do the same thing. Therefore, this project is very, very unique. So if people are looking, or people believe this industry is very bullish, then this is the project they're going to be going towards. So the idea behind Graphlink Protocol is they understood that every single business or institution have something that they could probably automate in some way, shape, or form. And in the future, when the blockchain is more adopted by most industries, we're going to need some form of IDE where individuals and developers can program and automate tasks for those institutions in a costly and effective manner. And that's what Graphlink Protocol aim to do. They also have this idea of no code, which is simple programming. No need to write hundreds of lines of code when you can basically just drag and drop certain systems and use their templates in order to automate these tasks. One of the main reasons why I believe this project is great is because it caters to institutions. This is something we also look for in low cap gems. So let's break it down. You have projects which cater to retail investors, and you have projects which cater to institutional investors. And you need to differentiate between them, because projects which cater to retail investors, you need to understand that it's going to be much harder for that project to push up in price. For example, gaming projects that caters towards retail investors. So the project needs to be pretty good and have a degree of hype behind it in order to push up the price. However, that is not the case with projects that cater to institutional investments. They need to be able to be adopted by institutions to understand and basically elicit the change of that project for it to perform well. So that is why Graphlink Protocol is amazing. One, real world utility in terms of the blockchain. Two, it caters to institutions. And three, it has a unique selling point. So this is what makes Graphlink Protocol amazing. In terms of where I see this project going, it's a huge debate in crypto. I'm not one of those optimists in crypto. There's a few YouTubers out there that will say every single project is going to $5 billion a market cap. I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. And what I look for in Graphlink Protocol is for that 100x plus range. I personally don't believe it's worth investing into a low cap gem unless it could at least do 100x your money. And because of that, the reason I suggest that is because there is high caps and mid caps with less risk, with more institutional backing, that could arguably do 50 to 60x your money. So I don't believe it's worth the risk unless it could do 100x plus your money. So in terms of Graphlink Protocol, 100x would put it at around $570 million in market cap, which personally I believe that is very obtainable due to the fact it caters to institutions, due to the fact there's a unique selling point. I do believe it can garner that hype and adoption around it to perform that well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the first project. I wonder how what you think about this project, Piper.
So yeah, so what is their production rate? Like how much are they producing on? Is it proof of stake or is it proof of work? First off,
so it's proof of stake, I do believe. So recently this is very recently, because I made a video about this project not too long ago, because before they were a layer 2, they were running on Ethereum, but now their mainnet is live. So you can go and bridge your tokens and transfer them over to the Graphlink chain. This is one of the ideas that they've just proposed, because we've been waiting a long time for the chain to come out, and now it is out. I do believe it's actually not proof of stake, it's proof of authority. So it's a little bit different. So
got it. Yeah, because I was looking at their circulating supply, and so I just wonder how many tokens are they going to produce into that circulating supply, because that has the price effect too. So
that's very, very true. This is why tokenomics is very important, because a lot of projects out there, especially low cap gems, guys, believe it or not, but there's some projects out there which have less than 1% in circulation, less than 5% in circulation. And imagine what's going to happen if 95% of the tokens needs to, at some point, be dumped into the market.
Yep.
The price, it's going to have an astronomical effect. So we do pay attention to these things. In terms of Graphlink Protocol, it's at that level which I'm comfortable with. Right? There's a degree of trust you have to have with the projects you invest into, that the developers aren't just going to dump the tokens in the market. Whether you like it or not, most of these projects have a degree of centralization around them. And there's a degree of trust we have to have with the developers that they're not just going to dump all the tokens and, dump the price essentially. And Graphlink Protocol is at that level where I'm comfortable, even if I don't have that complete trust in the developers.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's what I try to tell people all the time. When I talk about these small caps, or when I bring people on to talk about these small caps, these 100x gems, I want them to understand that there is a level of risk to these that are higher than something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, Polygon. But that's why it's a low percentage. They're high risk, high reward, and that's why I recommend a small percentage of your portfolio being devoted to these. So. Yeah, I do have some stuff on this project. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. I did a little bit of TA for us this morning. So let's drop in here. Let me go to my charts. Not my coin market cap. There we go. Looking here at GLQ right here. 4-hour timeline here, guys. And I do have some things to show you here. First off, if we go back here to where we broke the trend of this sideways motion here, and if you actually go in, you'll see it was not very sideways. It was very volatile. But once it actually got some movement here back in January of this year, we had our low. So just so you guys know, I always do the low to the high to the low for these projects, right, when I do my trend-based fibs. And we came all the way up into phase two. You can see that we had a great retest here on the 50% line of the Fibonacci there. Let me bring that in just a little bit to give everybody a little bit of view. There we go. You can see that we had that little retest of the 50 here. We did get rejection off of the 786 there, but once we came back and retested it cleanly right there, that was when it went up and started going into our extended phases here. We did get all the way up and get a lot of resistance here on the phase two golden pocket, the 2.618 and the 2.66. Tried to make a run here, and I'm going to bet that on this retest right here in the golden pocket, a lot of people got trapped in here on this project. That's typically what happens when you see a break through a level. It comes back and it retests, and then people get into it. They jump in. They're like, all right, we got a retest. We're solid now, right? Because, we're looking at a 4-hour chart. Very easy to go that I got a retest. This gives me confirmation of more upside and continuation. But then it just broke. And I'm not sure exactly what happened on 16 February here with it. But what I do find interesting is that here around 22 February, we created this bottom here. It didn't get any support off of any of the fibs, but it did pull back up in, retested here into the phase one of the golden pocket, and now we have a double bottom here on the phase one golden pocket. So if I go over and I pull in smart money concepts, let's see what we got going on here. Looking at the predictive ranges, let me get that fib chart off there. There we go. Looking here at the predictive ranges, you can see that our rejection point here was on our trade band, on top of our trade band. Remember, it's usually within the two gold lines there with our delta in the middle. So right now, we're still in the upper part of the trade band. If we can break up into this, which is coming in currently at about 1.8 cent, almost 1.9, and get that retest there for more upside, then I think that we could be going back into the highs. What's going to be interesting is we have our red line right here. Do you see that? That red line is the upper resistance band of this predictive range here. And that is a little bit problematic that you have a resistance line of predictive ranges coming in at the phase two, which is where we've had all of this rejection before. So that's going to be where I'm watching very closely to see if this breaks through. That's going to be about 2.2 cents, 0.22341 to be exact. So we do have to get through that, but firstly, like I said, let's make this support down here at about the 1.9, and then let's see how we tackle that later. But if we get a break here at the 1.9 and we test that as support, coming in, just to give you the exact number, 0.0188 is where that's coming in at. If we can get that test of support there, that might be a good location, because you can see we got a low, a higher low, and now a higher low, right? If we can continue this bullish pattern, make another higher high, and then retest there, that would be ideal to add to that bag. So get that moon bag in there, So, but that's what I'm seeing there on that. If we take a look down at the oscillator here, a couple of things I'm noticing here. We do have a hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour right now. And we do have the ribbon twist pushing back up into the cloud. Typically, when we see that, let's go back and find another one. Like right here, we had a actual, not a hidden bullish divergence, but an actual bullish divergence. And you can see that ribbon twist momentum dot going into the cloud. I would like to see in this 4 hour that momentum dot print here, and that would give me a little bit stronger feeling that this has got some upside coming. For example, like right here, we had a hidden one here, and we bounced and we came up into the cloud, but it didn't get that full run up. It's really when we're down in this bottom bull zone that we really get it. So I am a little concerned that this isn't as low as that, but it does have some promise in it right now in the short term. There is some promise of the chart, but I think long term, if you zoom this out and take a look at it, we're probably looking really good. Let's throw this onto a daily and just see what it looks like here. Yeah, sitting here on the daily right now, you can see that the oscillator ribbon kind of coming sideways right now. I would like to see this start to come up and break the zero line, which is going to be this white line running right here on the oscillator. So, yeah, good project though. I mean, fundamentally looking at the charts, good charting on it right now. So I'm not seeing anything overly bearish, but I do see a little bit of some hesitation in price action on the growth side. So, but that just means opportunities to DCA, in my opinion. So.
What I would add to that is we're probably going to see a lot of bullish sentiment come towards GLQ as we head towards, the end of 2023, because the blockchain for this project, the Graphlink chain is what they call it, has now been released. This happened about a week ago. And now that that's been released, we're definitely going to see GLQ be able to be scaled more. There's going to be more institutions and, companies adopting Graphlink chain. Before they didn't really adopt it due to the lack of scalability and, the fees of Ethereum. But now we're definitely going to see GLQ take off. So I would keep this on your watch list, guys. It is a great project.
Yep, absolutely. And it's added to my charts now, so I'll be taking a look and watching it too. I'll set me some alerts here. So I gave you those levels, though. That's what I would do is I would set some alerts on those levels. And when you see it break it, go back, watch for that retest on it, add to the moon bag, because then you're in the right direction. So
definitely the moon bag, It's one of those gems, because I look for gems that would 100x, but not be $5 billion in market cap, because that's quite unrealistic for a lot of projects.
Right.
I look for projects that have potential, that can still 100x, but still be relatively under $1 billion in market cap, whether it's, GLQ at about $500 million or a few other projects about $600 million, because I think it's quite unrealistic to suggest that a lot of these low cap gems will be $5 billion or $10 billion in market cap. A lot of people just throw out those numbers from nowhere. So I kind of look for more of a realistic approach. However, that's the best thing you want, because a lot of people have lost money in crypto. And if you don't want that to be the case, you got to not invest with your emotion. You can't be just wanting that 300 or a 500x so much that you hold, and then guess what's going to happen? The project retraces, the project starts to dump, and then you're going to lose a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So I do try to keep it as realistic as possible.
Absolutely. All right, what you got for us next? Let's get over here back to your screen. There we go.
So a project that we could talk about next, I might actually be looking to talk about Dimitra, because this is a great project, guys, and it's quite undervalued in my opinion for a number of reasons. So for those of you that don't know what this project is, the main concept behind Dimitra is to provide technology to farmers around the world. Whether you're a smallholder farmer or a largeholder farmer, they believe that technology should be for everyone. The reason this project came about is due to a few different things. Actually, regulation was one of the main reasons why Dimitra came about, due to deforestation, which I will touch upon a little bit later. But the main reason this project came about is because they understand that world hunger is one of the problems in our society, and they personally believe that one of the main reasons that is the case is due to agriculture and due to the lack of technology. A lot of these farmers around the world, in India, in Paraguay, they don't have access to the latest technology. So they can't, as Dimitra says it, increase yield, reduce costs, and mitigate risk. So Dimitra aimed to give them that technology to be able to do that, and also utilize the blockchain technology. They utilize IoT devices, AI, satellites in order to do so. One of the main reasons why I love this project so much, guys, is because they're not just talk. It's not all speculation. They have products out already. You can see down here. They have about 5 applications out right now in about 30 plus countries already. It's rare you see a low cap gem sitting at about $7 million in market cap that have a working product that's being utilized in countries around the world. So this is a very undervalued project, in my opinion. So to touch upon what I was going to say before, Dimitra actually came about due to regulation. It was due to the fact that deforestation and a few other problems were going to happen. And Dimitra came up with a solution utilizing NFT passes in order to provide these certificates for these institutions to say that they're not, dealing with dodgy business, let's just say. So I don't really think we're going to see regulation be a problem for Dimitra. So regulation is not going to be a problem for Dimitra. This project also has real world utility. It has a working application. It's being developed in loads of different countries already. I see this project as very undervalued. So I'm wondering what your thoughts is based off of what I've proposed to you about the project, because I generally think there's a lot of potential for a project like Dimitra.
Yeah. So one of the I've actually first time I saw this was about 3 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I found it interesting because this is one of those use cases that people, that are like stateside or UK, most of your westernized countries, they're like these old farmers. They got their methods, they got their ways. They're not going to change much, right? But you got to
Yeah.
remember that we have a ton of food that is produced in non-westernized countries, South America, Central America, all over Africa. Like there's a lot of food that are produced everywhere, and they don't have ways to, synchronize ordering. Like for example, if you co-op your ordering of seed, guess what? It's a lot cheaper because you're buying it in wholesale, and so all those farmers can share the cost and get shared discount, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a way that they can all easily coordinate what they need to get for seed for that season or whatever is through the blockchain, through smart contract, right? And so this is going to help everybody know that they got all of their stuff in the right order. No coordination is going to have to take place. No one's going to have to collaborate with someone, hundreds and hundreds of miles away. It's going to be very easy for them to coordinate their seed purchase, their what they have. Hey guys, we had a really bad crop down here this winter. Like all of that information that could go into this type of a platform for utility, I see as saving cost for farmers in developing countries that rely on their production levels, their cost levels, and all that in farming. So in agriculture. So this is pretty interesting. I think I need to dig in on it a lot more, but we're seeing all kinds of things like even ADA, Cardano. They're looking at doing stuff in those types of countries with medical records, school records, stuff like that. This is just another piece of what those countries don't normally have access to that's going to allow them to coordinate and combine their strength in agriculture. So it's a pretty
Yeah.
interesting project, in my opinion.
What I would say is people need to step back for a second, because right now crypto is mostly just a means of investment, but people need to realize that the blockchain specifically has a lot of use cases. And that is why projects like Dimitra, projects like Morpheus Network exist, because the blockchain can actually help improve or mitigate risks and problems within a lot of different industries. So I understand that people see crypto as a means of investment, which we all are here to do. We're looking for that next 100x gem. We're looking for how we can end up making money in crypto. But we also need to understand that crypto has utility. There is a reason the blockchain exists, not merely just a decentralized means of currency. There's a lot more to it than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's go check out some TA on it, shall we? Let's do that. Let's jump over here and pull up. There we go. So Dimitra had a little bit of something interesting going on here when I was looking at it earlier. So our points back here, again, it was in the sideways range, but honestly, if we go in here and take a look, you'll see very volatile in that little sideways squeeze, right? When you're zoomed out, it looks very flat. Nope, all kinds of activity going in there. But we really started getting movement on this project, I want to say around mid-January on here, right? So after that point, it went a nice run up. We got our low, our high, and our low for our trend-based fibs here. And you can see that we did have definitive play in the origin piece here of the Fibonacci. We came in and we got a rejection, or we got a bounce right here in the 382. We got rejection at the golden pocket, which, that textbook golden pocket, it's what it does, right? But then once we broke above and the one to one here, that's this gray line that you see. You can see we got a to the dollar test on the golden pocket, and that launched off, taking us into phase one here. Breaking phase two after an attempted break there. We got a nice retest on the one-to-one back here. And then you can see now we went all the way up to the phase five on this initial run up. A lot of people there started taking their profits heavily, which, that's what they do. They don't leave the money on the table. They don't want to see it go down. So once, triggered effect there, right? But we got all of our support right back here again on the phase 2, which currently, right now, we are sitting above. So even if I take a look here, I'm going to get rid of the brush marks here, and I will show you what I would do with this to watch for. If you guys are looking to get into this project at this level because you haven't gotten into it yet, this is what I would do. If we break above this trend line, this regression trend line here that we have going on, if we break above this, then I would look at a retest on this and then get into it. But if we come down and we break this phase 2 level, or we break this trend regression line, then I would be looking to possibly go back and test here, because there's a blue delta on our predictive ranges right there. And there is our phase 1 fib, which was previous resistance. Now it would be tested as a second level of support, giving it a double bottom. So that's what I'd be watching for there if I were going to get into this project. Do we either give support off of this phase 2 and break the trend regression, or do we break the trend regression and find our support down here on the delta and the phase 1? So either one of those would be my point that I would look in at getting in on this project. So if I go ahead and run over here, what's that? Go ahead.
So that's great to see, guys. I actually think that this project, regardless of when you get in, as long as it's somewhat recently or soon, that you're going to be fine, because Bitcoin is sitting at about 23K, guys. And this project, the projections for this project that a lot of people are estimating is very, very good. We're talking about that, 700 million, potentially $1 billion of market cap for this project. It's a little bit more lucrative than a few of the other projects that we're talking about, because this one, people believe, really has a real world use case. So I personally think if you get in anytime now, you're probably going to be good.
Yeah, I try to give my when I give TA, I try to give people the understanding of where it's at and where you might be able to get a little bit better price or a more confirmed support range, just because I know the psychological impact that it has when someone buys something and then immediately drops. That's
very true.
People get scared and they'll buy high and sell low, right? So it's always better, in my opinion, if you can find a support level that is a retest, either right above you. Okay, if it breaks this and retest that level, then I'll get into it. Or if it goes down and it finds support, then I'll get into it. Something that I do want to point out on the VRVP here is right now, we do have a point of control coming in at 0.03, so 3.7 cents right now. That was where we just got our recent rejection at, and you can see here it was previous support all the way back through there. But we also have a very area low coming in at about 2.9 cents. Ironically, we did get our bounce here on our predictive ranges, but one thing that I do want to check is, yep, there we go. We are right now sitting on the 4-hour dynamic reactor here, and that's giving us support right now. So as long as we can hold this as support right now, that we're at the current price of, 0.0338, if we can hold that in this dynamic reactor, this is very bullish for me when I look at this project. Also on the 4-hour, we do have the oscillator bouncing on that zero line, like I was talking about earlier. When you get that zero line play in on the oscillator, well, we got the bounce on it, and we did get the ribbon twist to come back up. So this does look like it has some more upside here. I probably going to be coming off of short-term upside. Obviously, I'm talking about, obviously long-term, it's got upside. But short-term upside on this, I would say that if it holds this dynamic reactor with this oscillator pointed the way that it's pointing here, we could be looking at it regaining back into some of those previous phase extensions that we have here, like the phase 3 and phase 4. Potentially right now, interestingly enough, our trade band is running all the way up here for the top of this trade band right now at 0.058, which would be a retest of the previous range up there. One last thing I want to see is I want to look at the institutional order blocks and just see what we have going on in here. Yeah, we're right now, there's no order blocks above us until 9.5 cents. And that's probably going back to a previous range, I would guess. Yep, back in here. So that's going back to May of last year. So there is an order block up there. So if it does come up and it gets that support off of those ranges that I was talking about, breaks this order block here and can find support up here on its previous rejection point, you can suspect that if it comes up to this upper resistance line of the predictive ranges, that it's going to hit that money block to grab that institutional liquidity that's sitting there. So that's what I'm seeing right now.
Wow. You know, I'm always amazed at how phenomenal technical analysis is. It really is.
I appreciate it, man. I got a few tricks up my sleeve for sure. So, got some traditional stuff, and then I've got my weapons of mass gains that I call chart prime. So,
Very, very true. So I have another project, which I have a few other projects we could talk about. One I think is very interesting in terms of future prospects, and that one is called Decentralized Social. I know a lot of you guys may have heard of this project before, but it's a very unique project. The idea behind Decentralized Social, well, it's a layer 1 blockchain for decentralized social media applications to be built upon. But one question I always get asked a lot is, why do we need why do we need Decentralized Social? Why can't we just build it on any other blockchain out there? And it's a very, very great question we need to ask, because why do we? So essentially, one of the main ideas is the fact that social media applications are very storage intensive. Every like on Instagram is storage. Every tweet is storage. Every post is storage. Every comment is storage. There's so much storage being transacted per second that most of the blockchains that we have right now won't be able to cater to those requirements. So basically, Decentralized Social does cater to it, and the way it does it is it separates the storage from the transaction. So how it works right now is the data transaction and the storage is like one. And that's very, very expensive. So it's very, I don't know how to explain it in a very, basically in a simple manner, without getting too technical. How I would say is per data transaction, it's very, very cheap for Decentralized Social versus other blockchains where it's more expensive. So maybe 15 cents for another blockchain, but for Decentralized Social, it's like 10 cents. It's very, very cheap. Therefore, it can cater to those storage requirements because it's very, very cheap for data. So this is what makes this blockchain very, very unique. And I think it has potential long term. And the reason I say this is because all it takes is for a decentralized social media application to be built upon Decentralized Social. And if that application gets adopted, believe it, we're going to see DeSo fly to the moon. For example, we saw TikTok come out of nowhere and basically dominate the whole market. Imagine TikTok was just built on Decentralized Social. We would probably see Decentralized Social go parabolic. One thing I do believe is people aren't going to adopt an application or a system merely because it's decentralized. I don't think people care that much. That's why I do believe, if we wait, we will probably just see some form of social media application be built on DeSo that is actually just very, very good, and then people will start adopting it. And once we do, I think we're going to see DeSo go to the moon.
Yeah, another thing on that too. I'm in the Army. I'm getting ready to retire from the Army, and so one thing that I have seen a ton of is I've been all over the world. What we know as normal communication for social media in the Western countries is not the same everywhere. All countries' freedoms are not created equal, right? So this is also one of those things where censorship, this is an ability to fight censorship. That's where I see the biggest value of decentralized Web3 social media of any platform. I don't care what you build it on. I don't care what you call it or what its design is or project vision is. At the end of the day, the ability to have decentralized social media that is not controlled by censorship-heavy governments is going to have value to me. And if this one is the front runner on that front, then absolutely a strong project in my mind. So,
yeah, this is basically the front runner for that in terms of decentralized social media. DeSo is that one. It's the layer 1 blockchain for the applications to be built upon. And I completely and utterly agree with what you're saying. Right now, social media, or the media in general, is basically just a means of pushing different narratives and politics. It's very heavily tied in politics. And because it's a hierarchy, because it's centralized, hierarchies tend to tilt towards corruption at some point. And the corruption right now we see in social media applications is censorship. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, we're going to censor you. If you say XYZ, we're going to censor you because we have the power to do so. The blockchain will eliminate that power, and decentralized social will allow for those applications to be built, which can, front run that that narrative. So this is a great project.
Excellent. So I've got some charts pulled up here on this. Let's go take a look and see what we're seeing here on DeSo. So right now we are above the point of control, which is, good thing. You want to be above that, right? We also have all of our support coming in right now off of the value area low, which is very strong. We've gotten multiple for 2 weeks plus of bounces there on that, so that's good too. Let me turn off the order blocks because I had that on still from the other chart. And let's see what we got here once we look at the predictive ranges. There we go. So yeah, currently right now we are trading below our lower trade band and below the dynamic reactors. So that's a little weak. We do have a downtrend arrow printed right now. This is all short term. When I'm showing you guys this is short term, like the next month or so, right? Not necessarily 6 months to a year from now. But right now, it does look like you're going to have some good buying opportunities coming in off of this. We do have a downtrend arrow. We had one here that printed before, and you can see that led to this. So it is possible that we may come down and test this trend line here, coming in at about 8.65. That would be where I would be looking to get into this. Just know that this trend line here that's coming down this way and this trend line that we have running across right here is creating a bullish wedge, guys. So if it comes down here, this could be a great spot to get into this project and then break out. Look for that retest in there, and then off it goes, right? Let's go and take a look at what we have for the fibs, because I think I had to do some different fibs on this just because of how it had fallen, if I remember right. So let me pull that up, and we'll take a look here and see what we got for the fibs. Yeah, we got the fib retracement that we're running on this instead of the trend base, because it was a pullback that we had here going back to October of last year. So you can see here currently that we have the 236 that we've got to get through here because this has been a massive rejection line for, once we broke it all the way back in November, really. So that's what we got right there. But we did get, we do have our bottom there on this. So, that's going to be coming in at 6.28. I don't think that we would break that even if we come down. But if we put on with our smart money concepts, there we go. And let's throw on the order blocks and let's take a look at multi-time frame on this. I'm just curious to see what we have on daily support and resistance. So there we go. Get in here. So yeah, looking at this with what we got going on here, we do have a major support 4 hour coming in at 8.33. So yeah, that's pretty good line right there. We are currently in an order block. We've drained it, but we do have another order block coming in at 10.22 also. But like I said, quite a bit of resistance points that we have to get through on this, which I'm pretty sure that once the crypto market as a whole starts to move again, that this is going to just launch with it. Because you got to remember these small caps like this. Well, I guess this is a mid cap, isn't it?
Yeah.
This mid cap, when Bitcoin takes a move, these mid caps, if they're good projects, and this one is, I have a lot of faith in DeSo and its purpose and its utility. It's going to move astronomically more per percent that Bitcoin moves. So you just got to find that point to get in. And right now I'm seeing about 8.33 being a good point to get in off of that multi-time frame support resistance there. But like I said, we got to get through that dynamic reactor. So, but that's what I'm seeing there on DeSo. So you got another one for us?
Before I go on to another one, I really love this idea of decentralized social media. I think it's going to be a very bullish narrative. In terms of in the low cap industry, what the most bullish narrative is going to be per year. In terms of 2023, I think we're going to see regulation be the bullish narrative. I think everyone is quite, concerned about regulation, and everyone's like FOMOing into all these regulation coins. That's how we saw LCX perform quite well. So I think regulation will be the narrative for 2023. But heading towards the next bull run, heading towards, 2024, 2025, or the beginning of 2025, I think we're going to see real world utility gems be the narrative. I think we're going to see decentralized storage. I think we're going to see, decentralized privacy be the major front runner narratives. I think that's what we're going to see do well. And decentralized social will do well in the next bull run because of its utility and its actual use case. However, I personally think maybe not the next bull run, but the bull run after that, I think we're probably going to see Decentralized Social be like a top project in the crypto industry.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. Let's give a perspective to the viewers that they may not be thinking about too. Why do people create social media? For views, right? Mm-hmm. They want that viewership. They want that feedback from viewers, right? Big reason that everybody does that. Like most of your people sitting around on TikTok and sitting around on YouTube are doing it because they're trying to go viral to make money. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Well, guys, I'll let you know, it's not as much money as you think when you think about how much YouTube makes versus what YouTube pays.
Very true.
And if you have the opportunity, if all of the content creators out there have an opportunity to get onto a platform that has a good user interface, that has a good setup for social media, and everything that you create on there is you are monetizing, you're not getting paid for their monetization. That's just a huge thing in the future of content creation and social media. So
yeah, to touch upon that, there is actually many projects out there which play on this narrative. You got projects like Film Crib, which is essentially a decentralized Netflix. You have projects like Audius, which is a decentralized,
love Audius.
Yeah, you love Audius.
Love Audius.
It just plays on the idea because Spotify take fees, your music producer takes fees. There are so many middlemen before the artists actually get paid what they truly do deserve. And that is why
which is a fraction of what they should be getting paid.
Yeah, you may generate hundreds of millions of dollars in sales and you end up with 500K. And that's why Audius is an amazing project because it can reward you with tokens based off of the interaction and with your music. So I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. So what you got for us next?
So to play off that idea of Web3, because this is essentially the idea of Web3, the transition from Web2 to Web3. One project which I really do believe plays on that narrative well is Nakamoto Games. So I've been in this project for a very, very long time, guys. And it's because I truly do believe in this project. Before I get into why Nakamoto is amazing, I just want to touch upon the gaming industry real quick. So especially with low cap gems, if you guys do dabble in that, you understand that there is hundreds of different gaming projects. And we have to play on that idea that I said before with unique selling point. What differentiates all these different gaming projects from each other? That's a very important question we need to ask. And back to also the criteria I said before, there's certain criteria. You have the general criteria and you deviate from that criteria depending on the category. And this is one of those circumstances where we do deviate. In the gaming industry, what we do look for is a project which actually caters to gamers more than they cater to investors. Because if we're thinking about these projects long term, if we want Gala to be around long term, it needs to cater to the people that could potentially be utilizing their product. The idea behind these projects is transitioning from Web 2 to Web 3. And there needs to be something to incentivize that. So if there isn't a unique selling point, if it isn't different from the current mechanisms we have in place now, then people aren't going to adopt it. People are lazy, guys. They're not just going to adopt something merely because it's decentralized. Something has to incentivize them to adopt it. And this is where Nakamoto Games comes in, because what makes this project amazing, personally, I think, is this gambling aspect of it. So right now, you guys understand there's people addicted to loads of different games, whether it's, the current games, I don't know what these gamers play nowadays, or whether it's 8-ball pool. This is the example I like to use all the time. People play 8-ball pool on their phone all day long. They're obsessed with the game. Some people even whip out a ruler on the screen, right? They're obsessed with these games, and they spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on the game for these mini clip tokens, all these tokens in the game, and they don't get rewarded of anything. They're essentially wasting money. So what the blockchain or what Nakamoto Games allow you to do is actually gamble while playing 8-ball pool. So I can play someone else. I can play Army Piper. We can play an 8-ball pool game. We can both bet $100 and the winner gets $200. I personally believe this is enough incentive to get those 8-ball pool addicts to adopt over to Nakamoto Games. This idea of tokens, this idea of gambling, I think will incentivize a lot of gamers to adopt the blockchain. And I think Nakamoto Games is actually pioneering on that front. I can see a lot of use case and a lot of adoption for this project. And adoption really does help in the gaming industry. If you have a working product, if you have something people can play, people are more likely to invest into this project because they understand it has long-term potential. If your project solely relies on speculation, yeah, we're thinking about creating this project, maybe 5 years down the line we'll release it, it can only go so far. Hype is what's going to carry that project. You can garner a lot of hype around a metaverse project. However, at the end of the day, people are going to start to realize, look, when you're actually going to bring something out, this is what makes Nakamoto amazing, because there is a degree of hype around it. However, adoption really does incentivize investment. They have 150 plus different games. I think this is the most in the whole of the blockchain, the whole of the crypto industry for gaming. So I really do think Nakamoto Games is going to pioneer from that transition from Web 2 to Web 3.
Nice. Yeah. I I actually been following this one a little bit just because I follow you guys on Crypto Gym Hunters, and you guys have talked about this a couple of times over there. I think this is a very interesting game because it is something that people, if they get bored, they can still stay within the network and find another game to check out. I mean, how many? I remember when I was playing games on my phone, there was a time there where I was like downloading games every other day just to find something new to play because you could only go so many times before you had to start paying, right, to unlock something in the game or stuff. So yeah, it got me trained to want to find other things. What's new? I want to see what this came out, this and that. So, I really think Nakamoto Games is a very cool approach to the on-chain gaming, blockchain games, just because it isn't going to get you into this spot where you go, well, I'm really tired of playing this. That's why I Axie Infinity, great game at one time, but I really think that it just got boring for people and they want something new. I don't think that Nakamoto Games is going to face that wall or that roadblock of interest. You know what I mean? So yeah, cool project, man.
I think what happened with Axie Infinity, I agree with what you're saying. I think it was a balance, because when you're looking for projects, there's a balance of hype and utility. Even in the gaming industry, guys, it's the same thing. There is hype and utility. Axie Infinity relied merely on hype. It was more of a means of investment. You had a few people here and there who actually spent $1,000 to buy an Axie to play Axie Infinity, but mostly it was just hype in terms of a means of investment. However, with projects like Nakamoto, with projects like Gala, we're seeing a shift away from just another means of investment, another way of making $10 or a 10x in the next borrowing. We're seeing a shift to actual adoption. These products could actually be adopted by gamers. There is a reason why a gamer who loves gaming right now could actually go and utilize Nakamoto or Gala games. With Axie Infinity, I didn't really see a reason why a gamer would want to go and spend $1,000 to buy an Axie to play a game. And if you think about it, the target audience is a very important factor to play. The target audience of Axie Infinity, most likely, if you look at the game, would have been young children. But young children aren't spending $1,000 to buy an Axie to go play the games on Axie Infinity.
No,
so they didn't really meet the target audience.
I actually think that what really made Axie Infinity take off was that you had the game sponsors that were sponsoring players to go in and make them money, right? I think that's what launched Axie way harder than what it really was those people that were monetizing sponsored teams to go make them money, right? And I think once that died out and that money pulled away from it, the project, that's where the project started to get its price value pullback, we'll say. So Thomas Mongold had a question here, and just to reiterate this, guys, we don't give financial advice here, but we can look at it and tell you like what we would look at doing. So he said, I have equal bags of GLQ, DMTR, and CTI. Sell any and move to another. If this was you in this situation, Seth, how would you approach this? Do you think that what he has there, if you had those, you would hold them? Would you look at other projects right now? How do you feel about where they are?
So what I'm going to say, Thomas, by the way, nice to see you in the chat, Thomas. What I would say is CTI is not on the same level as GLQ and DMTR. And the reason I'll say this is because CTI deals with medical data, and that's a very, very heavily regulated industry. Governments and institutions aren't just going to allow you to mess with patient data, right? So if this project was to actually be adopted, I think regulation is going to be a problem, and it's going to hit people hard. And because of that fact, I think there's a degree of risk behind CTI that is much more prevalent than a lot of these other gems. Secondly, CTI has been performing well, but actually the reason it performed well was due to the AI trend. CTI was closely related to AI, and then people kind of actually misunderstood what the project aimed to do. What makes CTI amazing, in my opinion, is just the fact that it utilizes the blockchain. It's probably going to clear all the data issues, in the clinical trials industry. But a lot of people thought that they're going to start using AI technology and vaccines aren't going to take 10 years to come out. They're going to take out, they're going to take 2 months to come out. And that's not going to be the case. There was reasons why vaccines take a long time to come out. One of the reasons is they're testing for long-term effects. You don't want to put out a vaccine that 10 years later is going to cause someone to have kidney failure. So there is reasons that's the case. And CTI, in no way, in my opinion, will revolutionize the clinical trials industry. But that does not mean it doesn't have use case. I think what's going to happen is all these data issues, data management, transaction of data to medical institutions around the world. The blockchain can really help with that idea because it is borderless and it is very secure. So I think that's what we're probably going to see happen to CTI. And because it's not actually going to do those other things that people say, and once more people start to cover this project, we'll start to realize that it's not just some AI project, then we're going to see that it probably won't reach billions of dollars in market cap in the next bull run. It will probably still do good around 100 to, this is a wide range, but around 100 to $500 million in market cap, I'm predicting for CTI. So what I would say, because I have rambled on for a bit here, what I would say is, I think if I was in your situation, what I would do is move some of my funds from CTI and put it into a few other low cap gems, because I see CTI as more of a high risk, high reward play than I do see GLQ and DMTR.
Interesting. Perfect. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and jump into my chart here and give some Nakamoto games TA here. So a couple of things right off the bat that I'm seeing here is that we have a resistance lines coming in here off the 4-hour, number 3 and number 5 on our multi-time frame graded support resistances. Also, if we throw on a trend base, you can see that we did run up into... There we go. Let's turn that off. We did run up all the way into our phase 3 golden pocket here, and it's now proven as resistance multiple times. We came back down into our phase 2 here, and we're right now below it. But what I do like is that we are getting support on our 50-week moving average right now. So that's a fantastic thing to see. That's literally what's giving us our support right now. That when we look at this, I'm on a daily chart just so you're tracking. However, if I throw on the market oracle here, you'll see that we've got our dynamic reactor coming all the way down here at 15 cents right now, and at 14.2 is another support line on the 4-hour. I am a little hesitant right now, and I hope that this 50 can hold, because we did have a bearish divergence that printed here after we got the order block that said, hey, we're overbought right now, the OB for overbought, and then we came down, we created this hidden bearish divergence there, and that was pretty much the rejection on this resistance line. So we've got to hold this 50 right now. If not, I do see it coming back down to about the 0.15 range. And when I say it's coming down, guys, just so you guys are tracking, I'm not saying that this is it, this project's done. You got to remember what's going on macroeconomically all over the world right now. So, there's threat of recession. There's still high energy costs from the winter. Inflation rates are still not in line for supply. You've got Fed rates are going up, and it's costing more to borrow money. So everybody right now is getting a little risk off. So when I'm talking about these ranges, I'm not saying that we're falling down there and sell your stuff. I'm letting you know this is a great dollar cost average level that you can look at to get back into this project. If I was watching this and we break this 50, I'm absolutely looking at 15 cents range to get back into this, which would be a phenomenal price, in my opinion, long-term on Nakamoto games. So,
yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And what I typically say to people is have that long-term mindset. You're not going to be making 10x your money or 20x your money next week. You're going to be making that in the next bull run, which is a few years down the line. So if you have that, exactly, if you have that long-term mindset, you'll realize that actually Nakamoto games retracing, that is a great DCA opportunity. I'm going to start DCAing into Nakamoto even heavier. If you see a project retrace a hefty amount, especially one of the projects that I cover on my channel, be sure I'm going to be putting a big bag into that project.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I think that's about it on time. I think we got through all of your lists that you sent me. Yep, we did. So, man, it was great having you on. I hope that everybody that was viewing today got something out of this and understands that about the value of patience. Patience is what you need on these guys. Just so you guys know, I preach all the time on my show, patience produces uncanny profits. And that's what these small caps are. They are going to get you to that level of you're just going to be mind blown if you get one of those tokens and you grab it. You're going to be mind blown, you guys. If something like Shiba Inu can do what it did in the last bull run, which by the way, the #1 growth token with zero utility, if it can do that, all it takes is a community behind one of these strong utility projects. And you're going to see maybe not, the meme craze that went on for Shiba Inu, but you're going to see 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Like that's nothing to see. Like what was it? Shiba Inu was 46 million% run up. I think it was. It was insane. Let's give a strong utility project with a very strong community and a strong development team pushing for utilization growth within a project. And even if you hit 20% of that at these prices, these are astronomical returns, uncanny profits. So patience, that's all I can say. Patience. Small percentage of your portfolio focused into these, you might be shocked at how much of your total portfolio in 2025 is coming from one of these tokens in comparison to your Ethereums, your Polygons, your Manas, your Galas, you know what I mean? So
what I would say is everyone should probably invest into some low cap gems. At the end of the day, right? If you invest into 5 low cap gems and 4 of them go to 0, all it takes is one of them to go to 100x, and you've made all the profits back. Let's say you invest in 5 low cap gems, you put 5k in each. If one of those low cap gems is 100x, that's 100k. Okay, you lost 4k, so you're still in 96k profits. So you're not going to complain there. So low cap gems are risky. However, I believe it's worth the reward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, man, it was great having you on the show. Guys, if you guys like this content and you like what we put out here, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe. Check out the links below for Crypto Seth. You can follow him on Twitter and his YouTube channel. Great content coming out today, man. It was great having you on the show, and I appreciate it.
No worries. It's been great having me on the show as well. Thank you very much.
Yep, and I'll see you Sunday on Crypto Gem Hunters, brother.
Yes, you will.
Awesome. Yep, so there you go, guys. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Get notified every time we go live right here on Chart Prime, the Primetime Show, and this special edition of the Piper's Den. Tomorrow, guys, I'm going to be having Crypto Archie back on. Everybody had some nice feedback with him, and it looks like we'll be having some more of the Crypto Gem Hunters on here possibly in the future. I might be bringing them all over here eventually. So thanks for joining me today, guys. It was great having you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you guys get into any of these, remember, not financial advice. Do your own research, but look at the TA. It's going to give you those levels to get in, and I'll try to bring you all of that stuff every time that I come live. I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, trade safe and stay primed.